Yes, sir.
The property where the steel mill is located has variously been used for the shipping, fishing industries, cotton and rice exportation, processing, lumber mills, paper mill, the steel mill. One of the concerns I know that a lot of folks have raised over the past 50 years has been the environmental impact of that combination and the jobs that all of these industries have brought have been excellent for the community, but the environmental pollution that has been the byproduct has not been. I think that is something we need to pay close and critical attention to. And there's a lot of discussion that if y'all can come up with a response for us in this plan as to whether brownfield reclamation would need to be done and to what extent, and how is funding made available or raised from local sources, however that will go. Those would be big pluses for us to learn.
I think everyone on the panel would tell you, whether it's the environmental aspect of this project, the planning aspect, the visioning aspect, the economic development aspect, it should give Georgetown some great deal of comfort that these circumstances appear and have appeared in cities across the United States and increasingly globally many, many times. And it's one of the reasons that this process works so well, because we are able to, as a panel, we're able to draw from what has taken place in other communities, adapt it to the unique circumstances here, depending on what the issue is, and apply it. So the discussion of environmental condition and funding and how you deal with that, we don't have to recreate the wheel.
The social vulnerability of Georgetown County is very, very high. And our ability to recover from a disaster is almost nil based on the numbers and the statistics they have. Please be aware of the social vulnerability of this community and the lack of resources and policy and things to help us react and to do things and make things happen when we know that there are problems.
Over the last 70 years, or even better, that people on this side of town get nothing. Everything's here changes. Downtown changes, the whole place changes. We don't even have the proper sidewalk here for the last 70 years. And to build something of this magnitude, I actually know it is going to, I know the fact here, because the zoning, the taxes and everything is going to change here. And the people on this side of Georgetown is not making a whole lot of money. So now, we are actually here to be practicing in our own demise. Because if we build this building and don't do nothing here for us here, then it is pushing us farther and farther away from Georgetown, and I've seen it done too many times. That all of these buildings come with tax bases change and the people cannot pay it. So it is gentrification in a very nice way.
It is definitely a generational gap in the city of Georgetown and the county of Georgetown. The millennials are very apathetic about coming back home to be a part of the city. And then Generation X actually find it hard to find a reason to want to stay. And I would ask that the panel would actually ensure that you are able to address making or allowing it feasible for our younger generation to come back.
If we are thinking about a 100-year, 50-year plan, and this is a coastal site right on the water, sea level rise and climate change will have to be considered for what are the changes that are going to be there? Are people going to be living there? Is it going to be a flood prone area?
One thing that I want you to be aware of is the working waterfront of Georgetown is so important. And we have one of the only surviving working waterfronts on the coast. Even up in Rose Inlet, development has run out a lot of the working waterfront. There isn't a waterfront fish market there now or anything like that. They have to, go down with trucks to pick up the fish and take it back to the fish market. So that's a big part of the character of our town, and I think it's really important that we don't let development run it out.
My concerns is that I'm hoping that we'll have that industrial park, or what you want to call it, that area, built up where it would attract more tourists to help us economically. Our residential areas are having problems with high taxes because many businesses have been turned down in terms of wanting to come here in Georgetown to help us economically. And I'm just hoping that whenever you come up with an answer or some type of idea, please try to include all of those categories to help us here.
One of the things that has to be focused on with this redevelopment is our youth. One of the biggest complaints in the city of Georgetown is there is nothing for young people to do. That has to be part of the focus. We have to think about that. We have to incorporate that into these plans. They have to be remembered and thought about when we do this, and ideas for them have to be included as well as green space.
And I see a lot of potential in this town. That's one of the reasons why I returned and why I came back. And I just hope that whatever you decide to do with the Steel Mill property, I would really like to see some type of mixed-use development, whether it be residential, commercial, some green space, park, and really to just kind of expand on the harbor walk that we already have.
I have mixed feelings about the property usage because, like Josh mentioned, my father also worked at the steel mill. And I know that industry has been an economic resource for our area for many, many years. At the same time, I've lived in cities like Columbia and Charlotte where they incorporate things like the art, education. But I like the Market Commons area, or if you've been in Columbia, the Sand Hills area. Both of those areas have two things: a movie theater, they have residential as well as shopping space. And I believe if you have something like that on the waterfront, it's definitely going to attract tourists.
I want to talk about the sentimental value of Georgetown because I live right on Gilbert Street, and Gilbert Street looks directly at the steel mill. I remember when I was a child, we can look down there, we can see the water, we can even feel the breeze from the water in our neighborhood. And that's not happening anymore. But what I want to see happen is to have something there that's productive, as well as have it really beautiful.
What's going to keep the youth here? And I want to not just have something to bring them back, but to keep them here permanently and spend their young adult life here. But I also want to keep the space to where it's local. And I don't want people to just stay here because it's where our family's from. But I want people to come from the outside and not just because of the water. I want to have some other reason for the people to want to come here. But I want to keep it local.
We just had my high school 30-year class reunion. And unfortunately, it didn't turn out good. We had 25 people that came back. And one of the reasons why they didn't came back is because of the social life and not being able to find things to do. We need to make Georgetown a place that people would love to come see. And that district over there where the steel mill is at is a beautiful area because you have to come past there to see everything. So something that would bring jobs is very important, but also even with you having jobs, you have to have a social life.
I wondered about the steel mill because what about you're going to rezone, right? You may have talked about this already, but I wonder how far you're going to rezone. I mean, and I wondered when you dismantled it, is it going to be, is the steel company going to help do some of it, the people that built it? Or do we have to pay for it all? And I'm kind of worried about the area between Fraser Street and Memory Road. And I wonder how high your tax is going to be. And when you remodel it, or do whatever you're going to do with it, are you going to hire some African-American contractors? And there are things like that I'm wondering about.
And when you do consider the mixed uses, consider jobs. Because we have so many of our people traveling to Myrtle Beach. We would like to keep them right here in Georgetown. And the streetscape, when you incorporate that, make it a showplace. Not only the streetscape, but from the water, make it a showplace. And as the gentleman said, when people come through Georgetown, they won't think about stopping. They can't help themselves. They have to stop.
But if everything is centered around tourism and the low economic community continues to only get the jobs as the dishwashers or the people working in the back, we are never going to be able to do and live the way they used to live when they had the jobs at the steel mill, where those men and some women who graduated from high school and I was teaching school, and they were probably making twice the amount of money that I was making as a school teacher. And they were living better than me. And so we want some of those kinds of economic development type jobs to be incorporated in the planning.
A lot of people have lost their jobs.
Thank you. Okay.
A lot of people have lost their jobs.